I enjoy scaring people a lot. I enjoy suspense and action and thrills. And I enjoy comedy, I guess mainly the genres of films. I'm big on form and structure, and within a certain context doing certain things. The film I'm making now, Halloween, hopefully will be is a horror film, loaded with scares, suspense scares, hopefully not grisly or gory, but suspenseful, making people on the edge of their seats. I enjoy doing that.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
Michael Myers was born on October 19th, 1957, and he had an older sister named Judith Myers and a younger sister. The family resided in a two-story house at 45 Lambkin Lane in the suburban town of Haddonfield, Illinois. By 1963, when Michael Myers was 6 years old, he claimed to have suffered from bizarre, inexplicable nightmares and had heard a voice in his head that would tell him to do things.
The voices tell me to say I hate people,
says Michael. His dreams were filled with images of actual events that took place several centuries ago and the dawn of the Celtic Age, and he dreamed of a disfigured 15-year-old boy named Enda, who after being rejected by his true love Deirdre, brutally murdered her during the feast of Samhain on what would later be called Halloween night. These visions would have a greater impact on Michael later on in his life. On October 31st, 1963, Michael committed his first act of murder. His parents were away and he was at home with his sister Judith, who was supposed to be babysitting him, but cared more about spending an intimate moment with her boyfriend Danny. After Danny left, Michael, who was dressed in a clown costume, went into the kitchen, picked up a kitchen knife, walked up the steps and stabbed Judith to death. He then quietly walked back downstairs and into the front yard, where he waited for his parents and the police to arrest him. Michael was taken to Smithsgrove Sanitarium, where he became a patient of a psychiatrist named Dr. Samuel Loomis. He spent 15 years with Dr. Loomis, barely moving, never speaking a word.
Michael Myers is the most dangerous patient I've ever observed. He's covering up. This catatonia is a conscious act. There's an instinctive force within him. He's waiting.
On October 30th, 1978, Michael Myers destroyed his room at Smithsgrove Sanitarium and carved the word sister on his door before breaking out. He also released the other patients from their rooms. At the same time, Dr. Loomis and Nurse Marion Chambers were arriving at the facility to transfer Michael for his court hearing. Noticing the patients roaming around outside the hospital, Loomis gets out of the car to investigate as Michael attacks Marion and speeds away in their station wagon. As he drove across Illinois, Michael stopped to murder a truck driver to steal his boiler suit. Travelling to Haddonfield, Michael returned to his childhood home. The next day on Halloween, a teenager named Laurie Strode dropped off a key to the Myers house for her realtor father and was immediately recognised by her brother. Michael proceeded to stalk her and her friends Annie and Linda throughout the afternoon. He also stole Judith's gravestone from the local cemetery and broke into Nichols' hardware store to acquire knives, a rope and a Halloween mask. Meanwhile, Dr. Loomis had followed Michael to Haddonfield and warned the town sheriff Lee Brackett of the danger he posed. That night, as Laurie and Annie were babysitting across the street from each other, Michael watched them from the shadows. He murdered Annie first, strangling her in her car as she left to meet her boyfriend before slitting her throat. Later, Linda and her own boyfriend Bob showed up, only to fall victim to Michael as well. Worried about her missing friends, Laurie crossed the street to investigate, only to find Annie's body under Judith Myers' gravestone, and Linda and Bob hidden in the closets. Michael lunged at his sister, catching her in the arm with his knife. As she ran for help, Michael followed her across the street, and Laurie was forced to stab him with both a wire hanger and his own knife. As Michael rose to resume his attack on Laurie, only to get his mask yanked off, and given her a chance to see his face, Dr. Loomis comes in and shoots Michael Myers 6 times, causing him to fall off the balcony. The injured Michael fled into the back alleys of Haddonfield. He killed a teenager named Alice Martin before breaking into the elementary school and scrawling Sam Hain onto the chalkboard in blood. As news of the murder spread, chaos erupted in Haddonfield, with citizens rioting and even teenager Ben Tramer being killed in the confusion. Learning Laurie's location from a news report, Michael resumed his search for her at Haddonfield Memorial Hospital, where she had been taken for the shoulder wound. Michael systematically murdered Laurie's protectors at the hospital, including a security guard, 2 paramedics, a doctor and 4 nurses: Virginia Alves, Jill Franco, Karen Bailey and Janet Marshall. Meanwhile, Dr. Loomis, who was continuing his search for Michael Myers with the help of the Haddonfield police, was told by Marion Chambers of Michael's sibling connection to Laurie Strode. Loomis, realising why Michael had come home, tracked him down to the hospital and saved Laurie's life a second time. Loomis and Laurie worked together to cause an explosion in the hospital operating room, which engulfed Michael in flames.
It's time, Michael.
Michael suffered severe burns and was left in a coma. He was sent to Ridgemount Federal Sanitarium until October 30th, 1988, when he was arranged to be transferred back to Smiths Grove Sanitarium. However, upon hearing that his sister Laurie had died and her daughter Jamie Lloyd, his niece, lived in Haddonfield, he woke up from his coma and murdered those within the ambulance. After the vehicle had crashed off a bridge, Michael escaped and began his journey back to Haddonfield. He stopped at Penny's gas station and murdered the employees, stealing new overalls from the mechanic. Meanwhile, Dr. Loomis, who had heard of Michael's escape and was tracking him down once more, encountered him at the diner and begged him to leave the people of Haddonfield alone. Michael responded by driving off in a stolen truck, burning the gas station to the ground, and in the process leaving Loomis stranded. In Haddonfield, Jamie was suffering regular nightmares about her uncle. When taken shopping for a Halloween costume by her adoptive sister Rachel Carruthers, she briefly saw him as she was stealing a new mask from the discount store. When Loomis finally arrived in town, he contacted new Sheriff Ben Meeker with the news of Michael's return. The pair then went out searching for Jamie, who was trick-or-treating with Rachel. Meanwhile, Michael had begun his attack on Haddonfield, destroying the town's power supply and single-handedly wiping out the entire police force but Meeker and Deputy Logan. When word got around that Michael was back, a group of vengeful townsfolk began patrolling the streets with shotguns. Meeker and Loomis finally caught up with Rachel and Jamie, and they all took refuge in Meeker's house. However, when Michael found a way into the house and began killing their protectors, the two girls escaped via the roof and were eventually rescued by the people hunting Myers. Jamie and Rachel were driven out of town safely as the state police arrived to deal with Michael Myers. However, Michael had secretly hitched a ride under the truck, and Rachel was forced to take the wheel when he killed the driver. She drove erratically as Michael clawed at her from the roof, eventually throwing him off the roof and hitting him straight on. Jamie went over to check the body of Michael Myers, and as he rose up once again, Meeker and a team of armed police showed up and shot him relentlessly until he fell down a nearby mineshaft. Police threw a stick of dynamite into the mine shaft to finish him off, but Michael crawled out just in time and was swept away by a river. When he finally escaped the current, he fell back into his coma and was discovered by a hermit who nursed him back to health. A year later, Michael woke up from his coma and killed the hermit and continued searching for his niece Jamie. Jamie was now living at the Haddonfield Children's Clinic after stabbing her mother to death on Halloween 1988. Michael's evil had somehow affected her, and she is now sharing some sort of psychic bond with her uncle, knowing where he is and when he would strike next. Michael had returned to Haddonfield and began stalking Rachel, sneaking into her house and stabbing her with a pair of scissors. When Rachel's friends Tina Williams and Samantha showed up looking for her, Michael followed them to a party at Tower Farm. Jamie, however, sensed that Tina was in danger and escaped the clinic to look for her friend. At the party, Michael murdered Samantha and her boyfriend in the barn while they were having sex. Just as Tina found the bodies of her friends and the police force sent to protect them, Jamie showed up to the farm and Michael chased them through the fields in a car. Tina sacrificed herself to save Jamie, shortly before Loomis and the Haddonfield police arrived. Loomis told Michael, who was lurking in the woods, to meet him at the Myers house. Loomis and Sheriff Meeker arranged a sting operation to trap Michael at the childhood home, using Jamie as bait, but Michael, however, was not falling for the trick and murdered the staff at the children's clinic to distract the police. Ignoring Loomis's attempts to reason with him, Michael killed the remaining police officers and began chasing Jamie through the Myers house. She eventually ran upstairs to the attic, where she discovered a child's coffin laid out ready for her. With nowhere left to run, Jamie climbed into the coffin, and as Michael raised his knife, she asked him to show her his face. In a bizarre moment of humanity, Michael removed his mask and began crying, but when Jamie tried to wipe away his tears, he recoiled in rage. He followed Jamie down the stairs where Loomis shot him with tranquilizers before beating him unconscious with a plank of wood. Michael was taken into custody at the Haddonfield police station, and Meeker made preparation for him to be transferred to a maximum security facility. However, a mysterious person in black enters the building and machine-gunned every officer in the building before disappearing with both Jamie and Michael. The residents of Haddonfield believe that Jamie and Michael both died in the explosion in the police station back in 1989. In fact, the mysterious man in black had taken them and hid them away in an unknown building, and now had Jamie impregnated. On October 30th, 1995, Jamie gave birth to a boy and escaped the sanitarium with the help of a sympathetic midwife. After calling a radio station to alert Dr. Loomis that Michael was after her, Jamie hid the baby in a bus station and fled back to Haddonfield. When Michael forced her off the road, Jamie took refuge in a barn, where Michael found and impaled her in a corn thresher. As the bleeding Jamie told him he could not have her baby, Michael switched on the machinery and watched as his niece was gutted. He then returned to Jamie's vehicle in search of the infant to find he was not there. Meanwhile, a new family had recently moved into the Myers house, relatives of the couple who adopted Laurie Strode. The youngest, Danny Strode, was hearing voices telling him to kill, much like Michael as a child. Across the street, Tommy Doyle lived in a boarding house owned by Mrs. Blankenship and was obsessed with Michael Myers. After hearing Jamie's cry for help over the radio, Tommy tracked down the call to the bus station and discovered her baby, who he named Stephen. He then runs into Dr. Loomis at Haddonfield Memorial Hospital and warns the Strode family that they were in danger. True to Loomis's warning, Michael returned to his house and murdered the Strodes in search of Jamie's baby, leaving only Danny and his mother Cara alive. Cara and Danny were taken by Tommy, who explained to them that his theories that Michael Myers was cursed by a runic symbol called Thorn, by a cult of people who had worshipped it. The man in black is later revealed to be Terence Wine, Dr. Loomis's longtime friend and former colleague. He and his group of people who appeared to be in the cult of Thorn arrived at the boarding house to retrieve Stephen, as well as Danny and Cara in the process, leaving Tommy and Loomis drugged. When they woke, Tommy and Loomis tracked the cult down to Smith's Grove Sanitarium. As Loomis confronted Wine about his role in all of this, Wine congratulated Loomis on being the first to recognise the unique power of Michael's evil. Wine wanted to exploit his power and invited Loomis to join him. Meanwhile, Tommy snuck into the maximum security ward to rescue Kara and the children. They encountered Michael Myers wandering the halls of the asylum and witnessed him butchering several members of Dr. Wine's staff and Dr. Wine himself while working on a genetic engineering experiment possibly involving Danny. Michael then continued his search for Jamie's baby, only to be pumped full of drugs and then beaten unconscious with a pipe by Tommy. As Tommy, Kara and the children prepared to leave Smith's Grove for safety, Dr. Loomis decided to stay to attend to some business back in the building. Michael's mask is seen on the floor and Dr. Loomis is heard screaming in the background, leaving the fate of both characters unknown. Michael Myers' body was never found, although many assumed him dead. Dr. Loomis continued to track Myers' possible movements until he passed away in the mid-90s, while Laurie Strode faked her death in a car accident in case her brother ever came for her again. Michael was in fact still alive and decided that Halloween 1998 would be the night for a family reunion with Laurie because it would also be on the 17th birthday of Laurie's son John Tate. On October 30th, he broke into Marion Chambers' house to uncover more information on his believed dead sister. Marion came home to discover the break-in and was aided by her neighbours. Michael murdered the teenagers and Marion herself before escaping with files regarding Laurie Strode. Police speculated that Michael Myers may have been responsible for the killings and made a call to Haddonfield to be on the alert. Michael tracked Laurie, now known as Carrie Tate, to Hillcrest Academy, a boarding school in Summer Glen, California, where she worked as a headmistress. Her son and Michael's nephew John Tate was also a student at the school. As Carrie struggled with the 20-year-old memories of her brother and John grew increasingly impatient with her paranoia and overprotectiveness, Michael snuck into the school grounds and stalked his family on Halloween. Carrie allowed John to go on a school trip to Yosemite, but unbeknownst to her, him and his friends had planned a Halloween party in the empty school. Michael murdered John's friends Charlie and Sarah before attacking John and his girlfriend Molly. The two teenagers managed to fend him off long enough until Laurie and her boyfriend Will Brennan came to the rescue. Michael murdered Will, and upon getting John and Molly to safety, Carrie decided to stop running and face her brother, and she re-entered the school and confronted him head-on, stabbing him multiple times and pushing him off a balcony. Michael laid unconscious, but Laurie was prevented from finishing him off by Ronald Jones, the school security guard who dragged her from her brother's body. As the police arrived at Hillcrest, Michael awoke and attacked the paramedic who was about to move his body. He crushed the man's throat, rendering him mute and unconscious, and switched clothes with him. Meanwhile, outside, Carrie was convinced that her brother was not dead and proceeded to steal what she thought was his body and drive off with it in the coroner's van. As the confused paramedic regained consciousness in the back of the van, Carrie deliberately crashed the vehicle, sending them both crashing down a hill and trapping the man under the van. She prepared to finish Michael Myers off once and for all, after pausing momentarily when the masked man showed a glimpse of humanity, mercilessly chopping his head off with an axe. As all of this went on, the real Michael Myers slipped off into the woods. After killing an innocent man, the guilt-stricken Kerry Tate had been arrested and sent to Great Anderson Sanitarium, where she returned to be called Laurie. She was believed to be in a catatonic state by the nurses, but was secretly preparing for her brother's inevitable return. Michael finally appeared on Halloween 2001, killing 2 security guards to get to his sister. Laurie had lured him on top of the roof of the institution, where he became caught in the trap that she had laid out for him. Michael dangled over the edge of the roof, and Laurie mockingly told him she was no longer afraid of him. As she prepared to cut his rope, Michael feigned confusion, grabbing at his mask much like the paramedic she had killed. Unable to risk taking another innocent life, Laurie hesitated and attempted to remove Michael's mask to be sure. Michael took advantage of this indecision, grabbing his sister and stabbing her in the back. Laurie defied her brother one last time, kissing his mask before falling off the roof to her death. Michael framed an inmate at the sanitarium, Harold Trumbull, for the murders by giving him his blood-stained knife. Michael eventually returned to Haddonfield and lived in the sewers under 45 Lambkin Lane. In 2002, however, his childhood home was invaded by an entrepreneur named Freddie Harris, who planned to host an internet reality show in the legendary Myers house. The show, entitled Dangertainment, involved a group of college students from Haddonfield University, spending Halloween night 2002 locked in the house looking for answers as to what drove Michael to kill. Unbeknownst to the participants, Harris had rigged the house with false evidence that Michael had been physically and psychologically abused as a child. He also dressed up in the Michael Myers iconic mask and overalls to give the impression that the boogeyman had returned. However, during the livestream broadcast, the real Michael Myers began murdering the youths on camera, leaving only Freddie and Sarah Maurer alive. As Michael was about to kill Sarah, Freddie, wounded, arrives and electrifies Michael, and the house went up in flames with Michael inside.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
Sarah, can we get a statement?
Okay, we can go live now.
Michael Myers, over here. You got it.
Thank you, Deckard. You saved my life.
What's it feel like to be a hero, Sarah?
Excuse me, how does it feel now that it's all over? What makes you so sure it's over?
Excuse me. No more cameras. Entertainment is off the head. I'll just show some respect.
Mr. Harris, would you like to make a statement?
What can you tell us about Michael Myers?
Michael Myers is not a soundbite, a spinoff, tie-in, some kind of celebrity scandal. Michael Myers is a killer shark in baggy-ass overalls that gets his kicks off of killing everything and everyone that he comes across. That's all. done dancing for these cameras. Let's get out of here, Sal.
But how are you feeling right now?
How am I feeling now? You wanna know how I'm feeling right now? Fearless.
I'm not going to keep you guys here too long, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching the video. I've worked quite a long time on this video here, and I just wanted to say by far this is my favorite video on this channel, and I'm not even just saying that. This is by far my fucking favorite video on this channel, and I don't do it. I try not to do it anyway. I try not to ask for likes or for people to subscribe and turn on post notifications or share the video with their family on Facebook or Twitter or something like that, and I'm not going to now either. But if you guys were ever to recommend any video to anybody, any video of mine, I would really hope it's this one. If you have any friends who are Halloween fans and you think they might be interested, if you want and if you're okay with mentioning this video to them, I feel like this would be the best video for them to watch, as I feel this video is the best of mine, and I want people to be entertained by my videos, and I feel like this video might do justice for that. And at the end of the day, I have a love for Halloween and the franchise, and it's great being able to create a video like this where even like a month or two down the road, I'm gonna go back and watch this, and even though I find it cringy listening to my own voice, I'm gonna watch the video and I'm gonna be entertained, like I am with a lot of my older videos. And like I said, I don't want to ask for likes. I don't want to try influence your response. If you want to dislike the video, you can. If you want to like it, you can. You know, you can do what you want. You're a free person. It's just, if you are ever going to recommend a video of mine to anybody, I would feel a lot better if it was this video, as I feel like this is my best one. Like I said, I'm not going to keep you here too long. I'm going to go off now. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good weekend, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I really do. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day, everybody. Actually, it's night time, sorry. Have a nice night, everybody, okay? Have a good fucking night. I cursed. I shouldn't have cursed. In all fairness, I don't think it matters at this point. YouTube have no idea who I am, so they're not even going to be able to like restrict my videos from anybody. Actually, they could. Never mind. That's a lie. I should probably end the video before I say something else. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to go over to my computer now and stop recording this video. So you can click away now. Ow. Did you hear that? My leg cracked when I moved. Are you still listening? You can click away now, because I'm about to end the video right now. Like, I'm about to click on the mouse to stop recording my voice. So you can pause the video now. You can stop listening. Let me see. Okay, thank you so much for watching though. Have a nice day.